From the back alleys of bustling cities to the forgotten corners of the globe, a chilling underworld lurks where innocence is lost and danger reigns supreme. These are not just stories from the movies. Today, we delve into the harrowing reality of the unimaginable lives led by these young warriors of the streets. Brace yourself as we uncover the dark side of youth. These are the most dangerous children gangs in the world. Number 10. Latin Kings. Originally founded as a Puerto Rican movement to overcome racial discrimination, the gang has progressed to become one of the largest Hispanic gangs in the U.S. With children being the majority of their recruits, the gang has long since forgotten the reason for its inception and is now widely known for the distribution of drugs and the perpetration of crime. The recruitment of vulnerable children often goes to the extreme, as it did with the former school dean in Boston, who used his position to recruit gullible children into the gang, helping him in the distribution of marijuana and drugs he provided. The gang is very strict in its activities and doesn't just attack rival gangs, but sometimes its own members when rules are flaunted. From heavy beating to termination on sight, the brutality shown to traitors is very extreme. Attacks on their own gang members most times affect innocent individuals who might get swept up in the execution. One such example is the attack of a former member in Canada that led to the partial paralysis of a 13-year-old boy and the injury of 4 other bystanders. Number 9. Black Disciples. The Black Disciples are a splintered-off part of the Black Gangster Disciples and have grown into a religion-like structured gang where the members are known as ministers. The BD gang operates with strict rules and punishments to maintain social solidarity within the group. Members face violations for behaviors that threaten the gang's unity. These rules are clearly outlined and documented, as will be discussed in more detail later in this profile. When a member breaks a rule, they are subjected to a ritualized violent punishment in front of other gang members during meetings. For minor infractions such as failing to pay dues or not attending meetings, the punishment is often a 30-second violation. During this punishment, the offending member is held with their arms behind their back while several other members punch them in the chest for 30 seconds. More serious infractions might result in a 5-minute beating. In extreme cases, the gang has been known to kill its own members. Tattoos are a common way for older and more hardcore BD members to display their affiliation. However, younger members typically do not have these tattoos. This lack of tattoos helps protect the gang by making young members less identifiable to their parents and the authorities. The young gang members might be exempted from gang tattoos, but they are definitely not exempt from violation punishment. This is seen in the case of Yummy, an 11-year-old boy who was gunned down by 2 teen gang members in 1994. Number 8. The Albanian Mafia. The Albanian Mafia is one of the most significant contributors to global crime, blending traditional organized crime traits with modern innovations. It maintains a strict internal discipline and a clan-based structure and practices endogamy, which enhances its secrecy and internal cohesion. In addition to these traditional characteristics, the Albanian Mafia has embraced modern elements such as transnational operations, a commercial approach to criminal activities, and a criminogenic culture of service. Their extensive logistical capabilities and the diverse nature of their criminal activities have enabled them to establish a presence outside of Albania and integrate with local criminal networks in various countries. In the United Kingdom, the Mafia uses county lines drug supply by exploiting young and vulnerable individuals. Dealers frequently target children and young adults, often those grappling with mental health issues or addiction, to act as drug runners or transport cash, allowing the dealers to evade law enforcement detection. In some instances, dealers will commandeer a local property, typically belonging to a vulnerable individual, and use it as a base for their criminal activities, a practice known as cuckooing. Much like in cases of child sexual exploitation, children involved in county lines often do not perceive themselves as victims or realize they have been groomed into criminality. Number 7. The Americans. In spite of its name, this gang is based in South Africa. More of a corporate gang for smaller groups, it is home to children gangs such as Young Americans, Ugly Americans, Dollar Boys, Dixie Boys, Dollar Kids, and Sexy Boys. Among the most infamous gangs in Cape Town are the Americans, renowned for their pioneering role in the local methamphetamine trade and their affinity for all things American. Using the American flag as their symbol, this gang perpetuates the cities with drug trading, abalone poaching, extortion, protection rackets, prostitution, and robbery to more legitimate businesses. Ranking in the gang is so similar to the United States political positions, crowning it all up with a headquarters that is called the White House. The gang's love for being affiliated with the United States shows in how they interpret the flag. The 6 white stripes are used to represent the 26 gangs, the 7 red stripes symbolize blood, and the blue background stands for the police. Revenge runs deep in the veins of these young members, and they would do anything to exact it, even at the expense of their lives. Number 6. Hard Livings. The Hard Livings gang is based in Cape Town, South Africa. In contrast to the Americans who use the American flag, this gang uses the British flag as their symbol. The Hard Livings gang was formed in 1971 by twin brothers Rashid and Rashad Staggy. Initially, they operated as a criminal street gang primarily involved in drug distribution, often competing with the Americans gang. As their distribution network expanded, the Hard Livings gang, along with their rivals, evolved into a more structured criminal organization, engaging in a wide range of illicit activities. The Hard Livings gang has garnered a notorious reputation for its entanglement in both international and local organized crime. On the domestic front, their nefarious activities span a gamut of illicit enterprises, from drug trafficking and poaching to protection rackets, prostitution, and the operation of unlicensed drinking establishments, colloquially known as she-beans. Their reach extends through alliances with the Westbury Gang and Verador Quartet. Internationally, the Hard Livings gang's operations are equally insidious. They have forged alliances with the Sicilian Mafia, collaborating in the clandestine trafficking of illicit diamonds as well as the smuggling of cannabis into Europe. Number 6. Molly Boys. The Molly Boys, also known as Molly Strip or Molly Strip, are an organized street gang based in East London. They wield violent control over the local drug trade, earning a fearsome reputation. As of 2019, the ranks reportedly numbered between 40 and 50 members, linked to numerous violent incidents, including multiple fatalities. The gang takes its name from the Somali origins of many founding members, though it boasts ethnic diversity with a predominantly male composition. Described in a report commissioned by the Waltham Forest Council as the most commercially driven, violent, and uncompromising street faction in the vicinity. In contrast to many peers, the Molly Boys shun social media exposure, preferring anonymity while reportedly leveraging platforms like Facebook for monitoring law enforcement activities. They maintain affiliations with other London-based organized crime syndicates, overseeing county lines drug networks and engaging extensively in the exploitation and manipulation of juveniles for criminal enterprises. Number 5. The C-17 Gang. C-17 boasts a membership of at least 40 individuals, a number that has steadily grown since its emergence into prominence in May 2017. With the majority of its members being teenagers, predominantly aged between 24 and 15, the gang maintains significant ties to the notorious London gang 410 from Brixton, as well as various factions in Havering. Amidst a backdrop where incidents of stabbings and acid attacks have tragically become routine, the group faced a poignant moment when the 15-year-old brother of C-17's leader was fatally stabbed in Romford earlier this year. Following this tragic event, a police raid on a memorial gathering uncovered a cache of dangerous weapons. Despite operating discreetly, gang members boldly produce drill music videos that glorify violence, contributing to senseless turf conflicts with rival groups. Number 4. Woolwich Boys. The Woolwich Boys originated in and derived their name from the Woolwich neighborhood in South London. Initially formed as a youth gang primarily engaged in street crime, the Woolwich Boys have allegedly evolved into a well-structured criminal organization predominantly involved in drug trafficking and contract killing. Their younger offshoots, known as the Younger Woolwich Boys, are mostly active in violent street crime, while the older members have been implicated in large-scale cocaine trafficking operations. The Woolwich Boys are also reputedly involved in the contract killing business, operating small hit squads responsible for taxing and occasionally eliminating rival drug traffickers and other targets. Their arsenal is said to include cleavers and AK-47s. In 2007, the younger faction of the gang engaged in a turf war with rival youth groups in Woolwich. Increased police pressure in the London area prompted the gang to relocate its operations outside the city by early 2013. In August of that year, police conducted dawn raids in the Greenwich Borough and Gillingham on the outskirts of London, disrupting a newly established drug distribution network purportedly managed by gang members. Number 3. Lennox Street Boys. The Lennox Street Boys, also known as the Lennox Street Cardinals, are one of the oldest and most perilous street gangs in Boston, Massachusetts. Originating in the Lennox Street projects in the Tremont section of Roxbury, this gang has been a significant concern for the Boston police since the mid-1980s, notorious for terrorizing local stores and civilians. They stand out as one of the few gangs that clashed with New York-based drug gangs associated with the notorious drug lord Darryl Whiting. On August 16, 1991, 3 members of the Lenox Street Boys ambushed and fatally shot a prominent member of the Columbia Point Dogs in Ramsey Park, leading to a brief shootout. Following the confrontation, the 3 Lenox Street Boys fled the scene. This incident triggered a series of retaliatory shootings, resulting in the wounding of 2 additional members of the Columbia Point Dogs. Number 2. Black Axe, IA Confraternity. Originating in Nigeria, the territory of this cult group spans Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, North America, and Ireland. Although created as a Pan-African movement, the cult has grown to be a criminal organization. Before recruitment and initiation, prospective members are required to sign an oath of secrecy, pledging to never disclose any information to outsiders or violate the group's rules. The initiation ceremony, often referred to as blending, involves gathering all new members for an event colloquially known as jollification. The initiation process is grueling and designed to bond members through shared adversity. It is claimed that the Axemen are stripped naked, forced to lie in mud while enduring severe physical abuse, crawl through their tormentors' legs in a ritual known as Devil's Passage, and drink blood. This ordeal serves to degrade and unify them. Some initiation ceremonies reportedly involve bonfires, drugs, and the sexual assault of women. Leaders employ death threats and other forms of violence to dissuade members from leaving the confraternity, maintaining secrecy through fear. Some members, typically first-year students, are forcibly initiated. The Black Axe achieves this by portraying the university environment as hostile and presenting themselves as protectors of the students. Upon initiation, members are given a black robe adorned with the group's logo and are told that they have just acquired their coffin. This cult is involved in cybercrime, political misconduct, violence against rival gangs, decapitation rituals, drug trafficking, murders, and sexual molestations. The group asserts that they do not kill the innocent, claiming their actions are driven solely by a pursuit of justice. However, the smaller factions of this gang prove otherwise. Young children indoctrinated on the streets and the area boys demonstrate violence and bloody clashes with rival gangs that claim the lives of innocent bystanders. Number 1. MS-13. Once a gang created to protect the Salvadoran immigrants from other gangs in LA during the 80s, the gang has grown to be no more than a unit for international crime and violence, with their main target being children. For the MS-13 or Mara Salvatrucha gang, when recruitment is offered, there is no other option. Their targets must join the gang or face the consequences. The vulnerable who fall to this are homeless children or children estranged from their families, and upon recruitment, the recruits are beaten for 13 seconds, while some cliques of the gang require the aspirants to end someone's life to be considered a full member of the gang. Contributing significantly to the high rate of femicide in El Salvador, the gang doesn't believe in mercy towards anyone. Their violent retributions extend beyond rival gangs to include their families, friends, and neighbors. Entire families can be targeted and killed in a single attack, regardless of age. The gang's audacity is such that they have even burned buses full of passengers from rival territories in broad daylight. This level of violence has led the Supreme Court of El Salvador to classify gangs like M13 as terrorist organizations. The ruthless nature of MS-13 has caught the attention of major criminal organizations, such as the Sinaloa cartel, which has recruited some of these gang members to fight against Los Zetas in the Mexican drug war. Thanks for joining us on this eye-opening journey into the world's most dangerous children gangs. We hope you found it as enlightening as it was chilling. What shocked you the most? Do you know of any other stories we should cover? Drop a comment below and don't forget to ring the notification bell for more updates on stories from the underworld.